The divide this Thursday night over Canada's decision to recognize Palestine as a state.
We appreciate that, actually.
Rewarding bad behavior is just, it's sickening.
The message it sends to Israel as the desperation for food in Gaza only deepens. And how the U.S. president is linking Canada's support for a Palestinian state to a trade deal.
And I didn't like that.
Parts of BC burning.
It's terrifying.
The scores of people in the crosshairs of out-of-control wildfires. Plus, using AI to help people poisoned by snakes.
Hopefully can come up with a drug that is better than anything that's out there.
The solution that could slither into reality and save lives.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin with breaking news. President Trump has made good on his threat to impose 35% tariffs on some Canadian imports. The White House says Trump signed an executive order to that effect late today. Earlier today, Trump had said he didn't like that Canada intends to recognize Palestine as a state and said it could make trade negotiations very tough. This is what Trump's Commerce Secretary said on Fox News.
Come on, don't be so tone deaf, right? The president is totally into trying to get peace in Gaza, and you're throwing your hat in the ring from Canada.
But late today, the White House issued a statement that made no mention of Canada recognizing Palestine. Instead, it repeated false claims about the flow of illicit drugs from Canada to the U.S. Canada has failed to cooperate in curbing the ongoing flood of fentanyl and other illicit drugs, the White House said, and it has retaliated against the U.S. for the president's actions to address this unusual and extraordinary threat to the United States. It says in response to Canada's continued inaction and retaliation, President Trump has found it necessary to increase the tariff on Canada from 25% to 35% to effectively address this existing emergency. We will get to reaction to Canada's policy shift on Palestine in just a moment, but we begin with Touria Izri on where things stand with trade.
No deal, not even a phone call.
We haven't spoken to Canada today. He's called. And we'll see. But we have made a few deals today that are excellent deals for the country.
U.S. President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social he's giving Mexico a 90-day grace period, but that it will continue to pay a 25% fentanyl tariff, 25% on cars, and 50% on steel, aluminum, and copper.
They've been very, very poorly led, and all we want is fairness.
Trump threatened that Canada's plan to recognize the state of Palestine could hurt talks, even though Mexico already did that last February.
It's an example of how Donald Trump loves chaos, and he wants to create as much uncertainty as possible, and he wants to give himself as much leverage as possible.
Prime Minister Mark Carney acknowledges tariffs are unlikely to come off strategic sectors like steel and aluminum.
Hit that guy back.
Ontario Premier Doug Ford is urging Carney to stand his ground.
We buy more products off the U.S. than Japan, Korea, China, the U.K. and France combined. So I wouldn't roll over, and I've told the Prime Minister, do not roll over.
The tariffs would not apply to goods under the North American Free Trade Agreement. New numbers from Statistics Canada show the GDP shrank in May, the second consecutive drop. But there were signs of a rebound in June.
I think we're heading into this still swimming, but we're definitely treading water.
Canada could be thrown a lifeline by a U.S. appeals court. The panel of judges is weighing whether Trump overstepped his authority by using the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to slap tariffs on other countries.
That's another important factor that I'm sure is in the back of the heads of the negotiators on both the American and Canadian sides.
One of the judges pointed out that the act doesn't include the word tariffs a single time. If the Trump administration loses, U.S. customs agents will be ordered to repay tens of billions of dollars. But any decision isn't expected to come out until well after the August 1st deadline. Donna?
Okay, Touria Izri in Montreal, thank you. There is lots of reaction to the Canadian government's intention to recognize Palestine as a state in September if certain reforms are made by the Palestinian Authority. Mackenzie Gray is looking into that.
the pushback from Washington was swift.
The president expressed his displeasure and his disagreement with the leaders of France, the United Kingdom, and Canada. He feels as though that's rewarding Hamas.
Sovereign Palestinian state.
That displeasure stemming from the Prime Minister's announcement on Wednesday.
Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025.
But Mark Carney set conditions for Palestinian recognition, including free and fair elections in 2026, a demilitarized Palestine, and Hamas having no part in governing. But none of those demands impressed the president, who said it would make it harder to cut a trade deal.
No, I didn't like what they said, but, that's their opinion. I didn't like that. Not a deal breaker.
But even Donald Trump, Israel's staunchest ally, has realized the situation in Gaza has become dire.
Some of those kids that's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that.
The United Nations saying there's evidence of famine and widespread starvation, leading the Jordanian military to airdrop Canadian aid into Gaza, according to a video posted by the Prime Minister.
It's a new chapter that we can work on towards an end to the Palestinian plight and torture.
The Israeli government condemning the Canadian announcement, saying it's a reward for Hamas and harms the effort to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza and a framework for the release of the hostages. A similar sentiment previously shared by multiple Jewish Liberal MPs, some of whom campaigned on a re-elected Liberal government not unilaterally recognizing Palestine. The only cabinet minister with a public event today not speaking to Global News.
Just about the Canadian government recognizing.
I'm not going to do that one.
Other Liberals have been calling on the government to recognize Palestine for months.
What we are doing is rewarding peace. We are rewarding the rights of people. We are rewarding the respect and dignity of people.
Canada joining France and the United Kingdom in planning to recognize a Palestinian state, and the Americans backing Israel, Donna, shows the potential fault lines within the G7 as to what post-war Gaza should look like.
Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa, thanks. Most member countries of the United Nations, 147 of 193, already recognize Palestine as a state. Canada would join them. The U.S. has not. Recognizing Palestine as a state won't make it happen, but it is a clear message to Israel. For decades, Canada and other Israeli allies have advocated for two states, Israel and Palestine, to coexist peacefully side by side. That idea is at risk of dying or is already dead. This week, Israel's far-right finance minister, Bezalel Smotrich, said Israel was closer than ever to rebuilding Jewish settlements in Gaza that were evacuated 20 years ago. He said the war has created the opportunity to expand them even further. Gaza, he says, is an inseparable part of the land of Israel. Another far-right minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, has said Gaza should be emptied of Palestinians. He has demanded a full siege, blocking aid and declaring there are no uninvolved civilians in Gaza. This week, the Times of Israel reports those two ministers asked the military to present a plan for destroying Gaza City and the tunnels under it and seizing control of all of Gaza. And on Wednesday, at a speech in Geneva, the Speaker of Israel's parliament spelled out what he believes recognizing Palestine will lead to.
It will bring more murder of Israelis and Jews. If you wish for that, if you wish what you call a Palestinian state, put it up in London, in Paris, in your countries, which become more and more similar to the Middle East.
The United States, which supplies Israel with most of its weapons, is the only country with real leverage over the Israeli government. It has historically supported the two-state solution diplomatically, despite repeatedly vetoing UN resolutions that might have enabled progress towards it. Now, international outrage about starvation in Gaza is ramping up the pressure. Israel has allowed some Palestinians needing urgent medical care to be evacuated, but for others, there is no escape. As Redmond Shannon reports, every day without enough food means more people are dying.
Ready for delivery into Gaza, boxes of food and medical equipment. Part of this week's increase in aid shipments permitted by Israel. On the other side of the border, thousands wait, desperate to get hold of these packages.
It's kids. It's children.
This is footage from a United Nations convoy escorting trucks into Gaza. The UN says these are warning shots from Israeli forces. Once there's a lull, the crowd of young men swarms the trucks to get food. Israel's military told Global News the incident is under review and that its troops only fire warning shots when under threat. On Thursday, Gaza officials said almost 100 people were killed trying to get aid in the previous 24 hours. The sister of one dead man says he was killed trying to get food for these hungry children. Charities say far more daily aid is needed to avert a catastrophe and reduce the chaos around deliveries. On Thursday, some Gazans said one small ray of hope for them is Canada's plan to recognise the state of Palestine. This man says it shows the world is waking up to what is happening. Just 100 kilometres away in Israel, reactions were mixed at best. This man says Mark Carney's move is rewarding Hamas while also punishing the Israeli government. Its leader, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, met with US envoy Stephen Witkoff Thursday as international pressure mounts on aid and to strike a ceasefire deal that would release more Israeli hostages. The White House says Witkoff and US Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee will travel to Gaza Friday to see aid hubs and to meet with Gazans. Donna?
Redmond Shannon in London, thank you. A little later, the praise and backlash across Canada to the plan to recognize Palestinian statehood. Millions of Canadians are dealing with poor air quality from wildfire smoke. Air quality alerts were in effect today from BC all the way to southern Ontario. Winnipeg and Yellowknife are the worst off, with conditions rated at the highest level of 10+. Toronto was at level 8 on the index this morning. People in all the affected areas are being advised to limit their outdoor activity. There are more than 80 wildfires burning in British Columbia. Almost half of them are out of control. 4 have nearby communities on edge, including Lytton, which was wiped out by fires in 2021, and Peachland, where a fire grew quickly overnight. Neetu Garcha reports.
It's a surreal cleanup in Peachland, BC. Bright red retardant on the roofs and decks of these homes, a reminder of how close this fire came.
It was just flames everywhere, right?
The wildfire that ignited along Highway 97 Wednesday afternoon grew fast, fanned by wind, heat, and steep terrain, forcing hundreds of people out of their homes and choking out traffic on one of the Okanagan Valley's busiest routes.
You could lose everything in a matter of minutes, and this fire spread really quickly.
We're from Alberta. We have a second home here, so it's kind of scary for us. This is our first time that we've been in
that was
an alert.
Officials say it started with a vehicle fire on the roadside, then raced uphill. The fire has since calmed but remains out of control. The mayor, who is also evacuated, says residents acted quickly and firefighters even faster.
I'm proud of the reaction that the firefighters had. I said it could be way worse, and they were on it immediately.
Air and ground crews are fighting from the ridge to the waterline, hoping to keep the flames boxed in before temperatures climb again. The fear is familiar elsewhere in BC. On Vancouver Island near Cameron Lake, firefighters are facing steep slopes and dense forest as a wildfire there has prompted evacuation orders and a regional state of emergency. East of Harrison Lake, another fire believed to be human-caused has forced campers to clear out with helicopters working overnight with night vision. And near Lytton, a community still scarred from the 2021 fire that destroyed the village and killed 2 people, new evacuations were issued by the nearby First Nation Thursday as a fast-growing fire burns to the south.
As the sun's setting, the brown smoke, it's pretty dramatic.
People are fire smarting their properties, removing any fuel, debris.
Fire prevention is key in giving your home a better chance in a wildfire.
Just looking at that first 1.5 meters or 3 feet around your home and removing combustible vegetation.
With some parts of BC now rated high to extreme for wildfire risk and forests dried out from weeks of little rain, officials warn conditions are primed for new fires to start and spread quickly. Neetu Garcha, Global News, Vancouver.
High-tech help. Coming up, how scientists are hoping AI can help save people bitten by venomous snakes. Ukraine says a residential building in the capital has taken a direct hit from a Russian missile. The strike was part of an overnight assault that killed at least 13 people, including a 6-year-old boy and his mother. More than 135 other people were hurt, and there are fears the numbers could rise as crews search the debris. A day of mourning will be held in Kyiv on Friday. Canada's intention to recognize Palestinian statehood is sparking some sharp division. It's being hailed as historic by some, including Muslim leaders who call it a step toward peace. But Jewish advocacy groups and some conservatives warn it could empower Hamas and threaten regional security. Heather Yurix-West spoke with 2 Canadian families, one Jewish, one Palestinian, about their hopes and fears.
All of this wonderful lives just gone in seconds.
Calgary's Iyad El-Serhi says talking to his brother in North Gaza feels like talking to a ghost.
His brother is younger than him, 2 years younger than him, but he looks over 50, if you look at their faces.
The difference in appearance is striking. This was Ihab before the war. His family estimates he's lost between 25 and 30 pounds.
They're looking for anything just to survive, especially kids. My nephews are screaming, just wanted a piece of bread. They keep screaming all day long. They want it to eat, and it's their right.
Nights for this couple have become sleepless with worry. It's why news that Canada plans to recognize Palestinian statehood this fall is welcome, but they say it's not enough.
Still, we need immediate action. We need immediate action to stop the war, for ceasefire. It's not all about politics, it's about human lives matter.
But while this family is calling on Canada to apply pressure on the Israeli government, from her home in Montreal, this grieving mother has a different take.
This is Alex in Israel at the wall.
Alex Look was one of 8 Canadians killed in the Hamas attack on Israel on October 7, 2023. The 33-year-old was at the Nova Music Festival. He died trying to shield others from the gunfire.
He was larger than life. He was special. He was brilliant.
Raquel Onona Look says recognizing Palestinian statehood feels like a win for those who killed her son.
It's only going to embolden them, as far as I'm concerned, and they see that, terror works.
Heartbroken families on either side of a deep divide as Canada's government proceeds down a very new path. Heather Yurix-West, Global News, Calgary.
Bidding adieu. Ahead, Canada's first Wimbledon singles finalist and top 5 player says goodbye to tennis. Summer McIntosh's quest to make history at the World Aquatics Championships is alive and kicking. She won the women's 200-meter butterfly final with the second fastest time ever, setting a new record by just 0.2 of a second. It's her 3rd gold medal of the meet, putting her 2 away from matching American Michael Phelps, the only swimmer to win 5 individual golds in a single World Championships. Canadian tennis star Eugenie Bouchard has played her final match on the Pro Tour. The 31-year-old from Montreal lost in the 2nd round of the National Bank Open. She received a standing ovation and, fighting back tears, addressed the hometown crowd.
I remember being a little kid sitting in these stands, hoping and dreaming that I would play on this court one day. So it feels like such a full circle moment to finish my career here.
Bouchard was once ranked 5th in the world in women's tennis. She says she's filled with gratitude for the sport and the people that helped her along the way. Next, a potential game changer in the effort to treat poisonous snake bites. Artificial intelligence is becoming part of everyday life. It's used for everything from personalizing social media feeds to fighting disinformation and even medical breakthroughs. Now, scientists in Denmark hope it can help take the bite out of snake venom, and as Candace Cole reports, potentially save lives.
Timothy Patrick Jenkins and his team are developing AI-designed anti-venom to save people bitten by poisonous snakes.
Snake venoms are these incredibly complex cocktails of different molecules, so-called proteins. And we need to know what the most medically relevant toxins are. So we use different techniques to identify these. We then have a very close look at the structure of them, throw them into advanced AI models, and then actually use these to custom make basically glue to these toxins.
He says binding the proteins to the snake venom toxins prevents them from causing more harm to the body. According to the World Health Organization, 5.4 million people suffer from snake bites every year, and anywhere from 80 to 138,000 people die every year from snake venom, mostly in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. So far, the proteins being developed are designed to target so-called three-finger toxins from deadly cobra venom. They've seen an 80 to 100% survival rate among tests in mice.
My personal hope is that within 5 years we've completed our first clinical trials where we can actually say that there is a product ready to be delivered to patients.
Venomous snake bites can often result in amputations or permanent disability, which can be devastating for families.
Often the snakebite victims are either current or future breadwinners of their family. So people living in snake-infested areas are often dependent on manual labor, so if they lose an arm, they may lose their chance to provide for their family.
For now, the AI-designed anti-venom is not a replacement for current anti-venoms, but researchers hope they'll one day be a cheaper, easier to produce alternative. Candace Cole, Global News, Washington.
And that is Global National for this Thursday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Air Canada showcases Lake George, New Brunswick, Brandon, Manitoba, and Saanich, BC. Please keep them coming. Send your pictures of Canadian pride to globalnational@globalnews.ca. And thanks for watching. Neetu Garcha will be at the anchor desk tomorrow, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.